Chair now recognizes Mr. Donalds from Florida.
Thank you, Chairman. Administrator Criswell, it's good to see you. My district was hit by Hurricane Ian 2 years ago. So we were devastated, like so many other communities were devastated by Helene and by Hurricane Milton. My question for you actually surrounds the firing of Miss Washington. She had given multiple interviews where she claimed that avoiding politically hostile homes is commonplace throughout FEMA. Is this a practice at FEMA?
Congressman, there is nothing in any of our policies, our training, or our information sent out to our field workers to avoid any home for whatever reason, especially not because of a political affiliation. The actions of this one individual are not representative of the work that we do at FEMA.
Now, Administrator, I got an issue because, and I will submit the article for the record, according to a New York Post article titled, "This is not isolated." There is a FEMA official who spoke under the condition of anonymity who says that the agency's practice of skipping Trump-supported houses or avoiding white or conservative-dominated disaster zones altogether is an open secret at the agency and has been going on for years. So, Ambassador, this is a statement given to the Post by an employee at FEMA. What is your response to that statement?
We have investigated this incident, and it is still under investigation. We are working with the Inspector General to determine whether or not this is broader than this. But the evidence that I have seen so far shows that this was an isolated incident, and it has not gone beyond what this one employee did.
So, follow-up question to that. Has FEMA finished its investigation into this matter?
No, we have not finished our investigation. We have been working with the Office of the Inspector General. It was also referred to the Office of Special Counsel for a potential violation of the Hatch Act, and I have asked the Inspector General to do a full review of this incident.
So, Administrator Criswell, you told me at the beginning of this questioning that there is nothing in your policies that would dictate that this is to occur. Yet you have one official who was fired who said it does occur. You have another official under your purview, under the condition of anonymity, talking to the press that it does occur. But you can't verify to this committee that these practices do or do not occur. Is that correct?
I have been given no evidence and seen no indication that this goes beyond this one incident. If you have specific information, I would welcome that.
Are you prepared to turn over the communiques between your supervisors and their field representatives and upper-level management at FEMA to this committee?
We always cooperate with Congress on the information that they request, and we will continue to cooperate throughout this.
So you're prepared to turn over all those communications?
We are prepared to support requests for information to help support the ongoing investigation into this.
Chairman, I would move that it's clear that the administrator is more than prepared to share all communications with the Oversight Committee about various communications with field volunteers, volunteer staff on the ground, supervisors at FEMA headquarters here in Washington, D.C. Also, for the record, Chairman, I move that the article that I talked about, this is not an isolated incident, be submitted for the record.
Without objection, so ordered.
Administrator, I want to follow up with one point. It was said later in this article, FEMA employees are trained to deal with threats in disasters. And I think it's important for the committee to understand that when you're on the ground dealing with threats, especially in a disaster area, it is important. Administrator, do you think it's a better course of action for law enforcement to be involved when potential threats occur on the ground? Because look, during Hurricane Ian, we understood that you not only had citizens who were trying to protect their homes from looters, and they are concerned. You have looters who are actively trying to get at people's property in a disaster zone. But apparently it appears that you have employees, whether you know or not, who are trying to take matters into their own hands. So wouldn't it be a better course of action to involve law enforcement who is on the ground in a prolific manner? And it's not just local law enforcement. I know from personal experience, it is other law enforcement agencies that are on the ground in support to neighboring communities. Would you agree with that?
Congressman, we have seen an increase in the amount of harassment during the response to Hurricanes Helene and Milton. We have been closely coordinating with law enforcement in all of the states that have been impacted, in particular in North Carolina, where we had several reports of harassment and potential threats to our employees.
Okay, fair enough. What I would also let the committee know, as somebody who's had to deal with this firsthand, it's important for citizens to understand that it's very difficult to go through the FEMA protocols. We have had many amount of citizens who applied for direct assistance were denied, and they had to work through my office to do that. I'm quite sure my colleagues who have had to deal with FEMA have dealt with this firsthand. I would really call on FEMA, whether it's this administration or the next, that they need to clean this process up, because the number one thing that hurts FEMA's reputation is the fact that so many citizens are denied when they apply the first time they come through the FEMA portal. And if they have to go through congressional offices to get help, and trust me and my colleagues, we will do everything for our citizens, but if that is going to be the protocol for how citizens get help from the Emergency Management Agency, then it needs to be completely revamped. I yield.